It's story time. It's story time. Come on, gather around because it's story time. Welcome to the story time. With me, we're gonna read books. We're gonna have some laughs. We're gonna smile today. We're gonna have a lot of laughs because it's story time with Nina. Story time with Nina. Story time with Nina. Story time with.
Hi, and welcome to another very special story time with Nina. I'm Nina, and I cannot wait to celebrate with you. You know, we celebrate a lot of different things here at Storytime with Nina, and if you've been here, you've been a part of our celebrations. We celebrate diversity, inclusion, and most importantly, you. Now, today's story is all about celebrating families, and all families look different. Not every family looks the same. And today's story helps us share that message and story of love, and a reminder that families come in all different shapes and sizes and look and made up of so many different things. So today we read Katy Has Two Grampas by Julie Schenk Lyford and Robert A. Shunk. So let's crack open a good book and go on an adventure as we listen to this wonderful story about Katy and her two grandpas. Today is a big day at school. Mrs. Brown has a big announcement, and Katy is excited to find out what the surprise will be. She rattles off an idea after idea to Maddie, her big sister, as they walk to school. In the hallway, Ivy comes up to her and asks, "Katy, do you want to play a game?" Katy doesn't say anything. Peyton says she's not going to answer you. Katy doesn't like to talk. No one can understand her lisp. Now, Katy has a lisp, we're finding out. Katy's best friend, Shakti, notices she looks sad. "Let's go play zoo with all the animals," he suggests. Katy smiles, and they go off to play. Now, a little while later, Mrs. Brown claps to get the students' attention and asks them to come down and sit for circle time. "Do you know what holiday it is this weekend? Can anyone guess?" she asks. Mikey shouts out, "Is it pizza day?" "My favorite day is pizza day." "No, silly," Mrs. Brown says with a laugh. "We're going to have a party and invite your grandparents to celebrate Grandparents' Day. Today, you'll paint pictures of fun things you do with them. If you don't have grandparents who can join us, you can invite someone else you love." So it's kind of Someone You Love Day, but it's centered around Grandparents' Day. Shakti asks, "What are you going to paint?" "I think I'm going to paint my family biking up a mountain." Shakti keeps talking, but Katy has stopped listening. Katy's busy at work painting, or at least thinking. Katy's busy thinking of all the fun things she does with her grandpas. Grandpa Bob and Grandpa Jack are two of her favorite people, and she cannot wait to have them visit her classroom. She starts to think about what she should paint. And you can see, would it be the time that her and her sister Maddie went swimming with Grandpa? Or they were looking at this awesome picture book of India? Or they were cooking on the grill? What was she going to paint? Mrs. Brown walks over to Peyton. She asks, "What are you painting?" "I'm painting us at a carnival. We rode on a huge Ferris wheel. It went way, way up into the sky," Peyton exclaims. Katy listens nervously. She doesn't want to talk in front of Peyton because she's scared he'll make fun of her lisp. Now Mrs. Brown smiles and turns to Katy. "What are you painting?" After a pause, Katy quietly answers, "I'm painting my grandpa and grandpa pushing me up on a tire swing." She whispers very quietly. Mrs. Brown replies, "That sounds fun." But then she leans down and says quietly, "Don't you mean grandpa and grandma?" "No," Katy insists. "I mean grandpa and grandpa." Mrs. Brown says, I know that having a lisp makes it hard for you to say some of your letters. It's grandpa and grandma. No, Katy stammers. I mean grandpa and grandpa. The bell rings and interrupts them. Mrs. Brown announces, all right, it's time to go home. On Grandparents' Day, we'll have you introduce your visitors to the class and show off your paintings. Shakti sees that Katy is upset. Are you okay, he asks. Trying to hold back her tears, she mumbles. She didn't understand me. I said grandpa and grandpa. Why can't anyone understand what I'm saying? Katy rushes away to her locker. Maddie comes to get Katy to walk home. Maddie, her sister, says, Katy says to Maddie, Maddie, my teacher doesn't understand me. When I say grandpa and grandpa, she says I'm wrong. She keeps saying it's my grandma and grandpa, but it's not. And she says we have to talk in front of the class when grandpa and grandpa come to visit. And I don't want them to come. I can't talk in front of the class. Everyone will laugh at me. Katy sobs even harder. This is what Katy imagines, the entire class laughing at her, and she's crying. Look at them pointing their fingers, laughing. Maddie says, take a deep breath. Let's go back. I'll help you explain what you said and remind Mrs. Brown that you were scared to talk in front of the class. You know our grandpas will understand you, right? Katy thinks for a minute, and then she nods in agreement. Maddie's a great big sister, defending Katy and standing up for Katy. Mrs. Brown sees that Katy has been crying. Mrs. Brown says, what's wrong, sweetheart? Katy doesn't answer, but Maddie says, Katy's upset because you didn't understand her. Our two grandpas will visit, and they're married to each other. Mrs. Brown says, oh, I'm so sorry, Katy. I misunderstood you. I didn't know. Please invite them to our party so we can all meet them. You can introduce them to the class. Katy shakes her head frantically. Mrs. Brown is confused and looks at Maddie for explanation. Maddie says she really wants them to come, but she's scared to introduce them because of her lisp. Mrs. Brown smiles. You don't have to introduce them if you don't want to, but they can still come and visit. Katy nods, smiles slightly, rubbing tears from her eyes. A few days later, the room buzzes with excitement as they all get work to decorate the classroom for their grandparents. And you can see the kids are painting signs that say, I love my grandpa and my grandma, Grandparents' Day, Grandparents' Day, Grandparents' Day. Everyone's making banners and signs. Happy Grandparents' Day as they're hanging all these wonderful pictures and getting ready for the fun festivities that are about to take place. And you can see all the grandparents coming in the room. You can see a couple on the left hugging and so excited to see their granddaughter. You see a couple looking at the other granddaughter. You see everyone just so excited. Look at this grandma in the front, so happy with the note that she has from her granddaughter. And it says, Happy Grandparents' Day. Mrs. Brown says, thank you all for helping us celebrate Grandparents' Day. The children painted pictures of things they like to do with each of you as they celebrate. Anyone who wants to share will tell us something about their painting. Who would like to start? Many children raise their hands. While they're all describing their artwork, Katy tries to build the courage to talk in front of the class. Grandpa Bob notices how quiet she is. He leans down and whispers, it's okay. Even if they don't understand what you're saying, we will. Grandpa Bob reassures Katy and lets Katy know everything's going to be all right. Grandpa Bob is pretty cool. Katy smiles, takes a deep breath, and raises her hand timidly. Mrs. Brown calls on her. These are my grandpas. And know what she says? Pa's starting to get very excited. You know what? They're married to each other. The kids clap and Shakti cheers, making Katy laugh. Look how happy Katy is and look how happy her grandpas are. What are some fun things you like to do with your grandpas? Asked Mrs. Brown. Katy thinks before responding. We've done so many fun things, but my favorite thing is playing in their backyard. They have a huge 2-story treehouse and a tire swing that goes over a big waterfall. Peyton exclaims, wow, where do you get one of those? Katy giggles. You have your grandpas build it. Mrs. Brown comes over to Katy. You did a great job talking in front of the class. I know that was very scary for you. Thank you for sharing your grandpas with us today. And look how happy Katy is with Mrs. Brown. Just so overwhelmed and so excited. Grandpa Jack leans down to Katy. Great job today. How about we end the day with some ice cream? Katy cheers and says, let's go. That to me is the perfect ending to a perfect day. And look as Katy and her two grandpas walk out and celebrate Katy's ability to talk in front of the class. You know what? This is based on a true story. Let's meet the real family. Look at them, all smiling, Katy and Maddie, and the pictures that were based on all the big adventures that they really had in this book. And look, you can see the actual treehouse that Katy and her sister Maddie get to play in. You know, this is a really, really, really cool book. You can find out more about Katy Has Two Grampas, and you can purchase it for yourself wherever fine books are sold. Also, ask that this book is carried in your library so that others can enjoy the story of Katy and her two grandpas. Of course, I want to thank our authors who wrote this book and shared this story with us. It's remarkable to be able to celebrate this story, especially now. We need to hear more stories like this. Parents and caregivers, go beyond the book. Make sure you teach lessons about what families look like and how all families can look different, and that no family is wrong. Because what? Love is love, and love is the greatest gift that we can give one another. Remember, go big, be kind, and of course, as always, be you. There's only one you in this world, and today and every day here at Storytime, we celebrate that, and we celebrate you. Now, make sure you crack open a good book and go on an adventure. See you next time.
You are wonderful, you're one of a kind, like a lucky star. You light up my life, so keep on smiling, keep on shining. Go big, be kind, be you. Now sing this to someone you love, someone you think is very special. You are wonderful, you're one of a kind, like a lucky star. You light up my life, so keep on smiling, keep on shining. Go big, be kind, be you. Anytime you're feeling sad and blue, remember you're special, 'cause there's only one you. You are wonderful, you're one of a kind, like a lucky star. You light up my life, so keep on smiling, keep on shining. Go big, be kind, be you. Thank you for singing with me, and always remember just how special you really are. Go big, be kind, be you. Go big, be kind, be you.